Hi, everyone. Cecilia from ISSIP here. Today, we are having the last session of this interview series, and then I have invited special guests, Jim Spohrer and Michele Carroll. Hi, Jim, and hi, Michele. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Cecilia, good to be on.
I'm sure everyone knows Jim and Michele, so I don't think that we need any additional introductions here. Today, given the fact that this is the last session, I wanted to talk a little bit about the past, present, and the future of ISSIP. Jim is a co-founder of the ISSIP. I think that the ISSIP community in general would be interested to hear about the history of ISSIP, how it was founded, and how it has evolved to become what it is today.
Sure, happy to do so, Cecilia. So, yeah, ISSIP is 10 years old, 1 decade old. And when we were forming it, it came out of several initiatives that were happening with IBM and Cisco and other companies. And maybe actually, I could even share a slide or two if you want to give me that capability, because the IBM was starting an initiative in service science. And that was basically because around 2002, so even a decade before we started ISSIP, IBM had most of its revenue coming from its service business. Now, these days, product companies, they go through a servitization journey. One of the classic examples is Rolls-Royce, where they had a jet engine, and instead of selling the jet engine as a product, they sold power by the hour as a service. But think of all of the companies now that are platforms, so they're as a service models. I mean, Amazon wouldn't be where they are without their cloud. Google, of course, online service. Apple, there is the iPhone, but it's the services around that and the ecosystem. So for even a decade before ISSIP was formed, there was lots of interest in how do we get better at service innovation? How do we get as good at service innovation as we are at hardware innovation, where there's like Moore's law, and every year you can count on the hardware getting better? And how do we get as disciplined as software engineering? So that was the motivation that came about 10 years before ISSIP was formed. And as more and more companies and more universities joined in this, what we called service science mission. Service dominant logic was also coming on, as a new way to look at the world in terms of service instead of products. So there was quite a bit of momentum already. And what we realized, though, is there was no professional association. There was like ACM if you were a computer scientist. There was AMA, the American Marketing Association, if you were a marketing person. There was POMS, Production and Operations Management. There was Informs if you were operations research. But service science and service innovation takes the business side, it takes the social people side, it takes the technology side, all working together. So the formation of ISSIP was this realization that, guess what? We have a service science journal now, but we don't have a professional association. Let's start one. And that's how we started ISSIP. And IBM and Cisco and a number of universities got together, and we started it 10 years ago. And it takes a long time for a professional association to get going. In fact, you can look at like ACM started in the 1950s, but they weren't really big until like the 1970s, 20 years later. So it takes quite a while for a professional association to get going. So with the help of Amar Reyes, who was our first president at ISSIP, and then we had a series of presidents, and with Yassi Moghadam, who was our first executive director, we were basically starting from scratch, and we had to put in place a lot of programs. We had to put in place recognition programs, and it took many years for us to get the badging worked out, and when do we do recognitions. It took quite a while to figure out, which conferences are we going to support and how do we give recognition for best paper awards. We're still, working out some of those details. And earlier, you, Michele, and myself, we were talking about the chapters and the conferences. All of this has been just little by little accumulating, and now ISSIP is 10 years old, and some of the annual cycle is pretty clear. You yourself, Cecilia, do a fantastic job with the newsletter every month, this ambassador interview series. So you're generating content for YouTube and helping more people get to know the ISSIP community, as well as us to get to know who the ambassadors are. So I would say the first 10 years, we're just laying the foundations of something that's a multi-decade journey to have a professional association for service innovation. And now with Michele, and I'll stop talking in a minute and let Michele talk about some great stuff. But I think now we're at the stage where, because we've done some things, we can start getting volunteer leaders to help go to the next level. So for the ambassador program, Christine Young from IBM has stepped up to that. For the awards program, we have Haroon Abu, who's just signed up for that, and Deborah Satterfield has signed up to be the volunteer leader for our industry university. So now we're at this, we've done each of these things a little bit, so we know kind of what we want to do. Now we can put volunteer leaders in charge of those to grow it to the next level. And I think Michele has done a fabulous job of making sure that we've got press releases. Each time we have one of these great new volunteer leaders, we have a press release about who they are, what they're planning to do. So I think you look at the website, you see that reflected in the website more. So Michele has, joined us and is really getting us to that next level with the volunteer leaders, the press release, the updated website. And that's a brief history of ISSIP for you.
Thank you, Jim. And now, Michele, our new executive director. So we would love to learn more about your, exciting future plans for the ISSIP.
Future plans. Well, thank you. And thank you, Cecilia, for inviting this. What a great idea. We're in the fourth quarter. I joined in the second quarter of this year. And now here we are in the fourth already. It's been an amazing 7 months journey here. And really, this is a marketing, I founded and run a marketing company on the side. And this organization, ISSIP, is a marketing professional's dream. I mean, it is the solid product, right? The service product that this membership association, I've spent a couple decades heavily involved in another where, so I come in understanding how that works and what the challenges are. And because Yasi and Jim, Amar, that founding team has been so effective, there's a 10-year solid foundation. The people who have been here, many, it's either, 4, 7, 8 years ago, or founding members, our institutional members are still with us. It's a solid core of good, meaningful people engaged in purpose that matters. And the purpose, this developing, supporting, helping grow service innovation that's, of benefit. People, we're talking about it being people-centered, data-intensive service innovation that's of benefit, right, to business, to society, to humanity. And that is what, those are the themes for our time. So they probably always should have been and have been to this core of people, but to be brought in to kind of build awareness then of who ISSIP is as a marketing professional and help structure the organization. I had a mentor once when we were building a supply chain consulting firm years ago, and he talked about building the space into which we will grow, right? And the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. So when Terry and Jim approached me about this opportunity, the more I learn, the more excited I am. And it's exciting at this stage of my life and career to just find something so energizing, that purpose. This year has been about kind of solidifying that foundation. I mean, it really is incredible what's been established. I'm trying to come quickly up a learning curve of understanding the calendar, the cycle of the awards process, the recognition of service innovation as it's happening, right? Engagement of members, how that works. So yeah, we start with didn't think the website really reflects the power of what this organization can be. So we're in a, as with all things, with the website, with the recruitment of people, and with the forward, some service products we're shaping. So let's talk about those. But with the website, you know, that was as we dig in, just kind of clarifying what the message and the value proposition are. That was one of our strategy council's key objectives for this year. They were, when I landed second quarter, you know, the directives from the strategy council were to clarify our value proposition, build awareness of ISSIP, and bring in new institutional members. So help grow the organization. So clarifying what that our purpose is, so folks can do that 30-second elevator pitch. You know, what is service innovation? Why does it matter? You know, service, it's broadening that definition, the understanding what the definition's always been, you know, of being of benefit, innovation that's of benefit to business, people, society, humanity. And that is broad. It's like the supply chain management where I come from, very few folks in this organization, you know, come from there. The overlap should be 100%, you know, it's this should be all of that plus. So building the website, kind of, we've updated the website, freshening the message, but now what's next there is, and Yasi Mogadam has, at UC Santa Cruz, Silicon Valley, has a capstone team working with us on their recommendations, some research-driven recommendations for redesigning that into, so it can become more of a digital platform for ISSIP, for members, individual and institutional, to engage in the work that they're doing. So helping each other build that understanding of the innovations afoot, and spread it, you know, grow. So that's exciting. And working with that team has been just interesting to me. What I've learned about this design, this knowledge-driven design, right? Which, Celia, I know that's you, but I think of design and it's kind of poo-pooed around here. You know, this, yeah, not marketing design, not this making things prettier. Yeah, that's important too.
That's definitely,
yeah, but I'm loving how they approach it. They've surveyed members and what is it that you use, what is it that you need, what's here, what's not here, are you able to get at it easily? Their understanding of that from speaking and interviewing in the spring semester. Now their design recommendations, it's fascinating, because I think of the industry and the people who don't know us, and I'm, you know, working on spreading that word, building awareness. And they're 100% focused too on the current members, though, you know, how then they can connect and engage, have a directory of each other. It's a neat push-pull, and the recommendations are exciting.
Yeah, I spoke to the students a couple of times as well.
Yes,
and then it was just so wonderful. Yeah, I just enjoy, you know, giving them some user feedback, you know, from a user point of view. And then they're actually implementing that design feedback into the interfaces. So it was so exciting to see that, you know, the progress that they are making. Yeah.
Yes, and watch it change and evolve. And Jim mentioned the recruitment. So that's next, and somewhere hopefully in 2023 we can do a kind of a major redesign, shift into this digital platform that, with its social media linkages as well for the messaging. And recruitment's the other big zone this year, where, as Jim mentioned, we have just in all things, we are volunteer led and managed, right? So we're a volunteer-run organization. So what we can do and are doing is shaped by the volunteers able to do it, right? And they're all busy people, like world's best at this and that. And I feel so honored when they give the time that they give, and it's just amazing. We have bi-weekly meetings of the executive committee, and when they come back in, it's so cool just how what we're building and how those just minds, the executive meetings, the discovery summit, watching real genuine connection on a topic, and then how it really can just amazingly blossom and bloom with these vines applied to it. Jim mentioned Christine Oyang. So I'm updating the website. That's one example. Ambassadors, which are current, which there are so many, and Christine stepped up. She is an ambassador herself to the IEEE, which is hugely important. So there's a lot going on there with that one ambassadorship. We have 42, is it now? 46, more than almost 50 live peer-to-peer organization partnerships where we're, working on events and collaborations and sharing of resources. And there's the ambassador, a team of ambassadors working on that relationship, which is admirable and huge and truly global and deep, right? So that Christine, as one example of this lead of leaders, is stepping up then to structure support for those people, from the organization, so that you want to step up and be an ambassador to an organization that means something to you. And they run the gamut from, resources for the elderly in one community in the southeastern US to really innovative research on world leading concepts in technology. It's fascinating what's cooking amongst them. But Christine has already had a couple meetings, and as you say, Cecilia, inspiring to hear what they're up to thinking and their commitment to the organization.
Absolutely.
That's exciting in itself.
Yeah,
So, and Christine is in that role. And then we have, I guess, two others that are in awards. Ralph Badinelli at University of Virginia has done a fantastic job in recent years running the awards process and documenting the process and how it works, and how the judging and the ranking works. And what's amazing to me, having worked in other volunteer organizations, and I serve on a number of boards with volunteer organizations, it's hard to get time. It's hard to get, expertise applied to a problem in a timeline and on budget, right? We put out the call for awards, and the responses for leadership of this important process was amazing and quick. And to have Haroon Abu, that's a very senior executive with one of the Bell and Howell, one of the most respected companies. And he stepped up, and there's a committee ready to roll, the folks who had immediately expressed interest. So we've announced that. You see it working. We have the next couple months for nominations for Service Excellence Innovation Awards running till January. That industry involvement, right? There are those in academia, rigorous academic credentials, understanding, paired with industry is what really, sets ISSIP apart. So that's neat that we have industry commitment to these awards, to looking at what people are doing, how indeed it will impact both business and society, people, humanity. It's great stuff. And then to the future, as I say, and I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox, but Jim mentioned Deb Satterfield. Design, she's going to be a department head there at UC, and she's stepping in to lead what will be, and I'm not going to steal her thunder, because it's being shaped. This is a perfect example of a new service product, right? It had been kind of the internship projects, the student projects, we were calling it, and we're interested in not limiting it to that, but making sure it is at least that for institutional members to collaborate with ISSIP on on whatever, testing, a concept, piloting this or that, answering a question, a survey, whatever collaborative interest exists between their organization and ours. Deb Satterfield will be putting together a product that will be, housing, guiding, and facilitating those partnerships and projects. And that'll be rolled out in the spring.
Oh, wow. Exciting.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And
Yeah. So
Oh,
we
and
have
then
like about 8 minutes left. I'm sorry, but then, like I'm using Zoom free plan since like I'm
okay, perfect.
most of the time. So I know that I have a lot of questions for both of you, but then, I don't want to cut out in the middle of the conversation with you guys. So before the time runs out, is there any last thought you would like to share with the ISSIP community? This is the 10th anniversary for ISSIP, and then the year draws to an end. There's something you guys might want to share with the ISSIP community, right? As we are embarking on a new year as well, 2023. Jim,
you went mute.
Oh yeah, I was saying a new decade, a new year starting shortly, and I guess what I just want to say is a big thank you to our volunteers, present and past. Cecilia, I can't thank you enough again for being the ISSIP newsletter leader and doing these YouTube interviews with the ambassadors. Amar Ray was our first president. Charlie Best was our second president from HP. Then we had Jeff Welser from IBM and Monique Morrow, who was at Cisco and a great woman leader in Europe. Then we had our first university president with Ralph Bedinelli, who did the awards program. Rama Akkaraju from IBM was our next president, another great woman leader of AI. She really helped us get more focus on AI and service innovation. Now she's over at NVIDIA. Then we had Heather Yurko, who was at Cisco at the time as president, but now she is at MasterCard as a senior leader there, really helping to transform talent development and innovation at MasterCard. Then we had Gerhard Gütergen from University of Aachen in Germany. So a global ISSIP with presidents coming from various places, and Ulf Veneris from HP Enterprise. And of course, our great president this year was Terry Griffith, who's also a university leader. Next year, in 2023, we'll have my good colleague Utpal Mangla from IBM. And then the year after that, it'll be Deb Stokes from Dell. So, that VP president role is certainly one of the biggest jobs, because they're at our executive committee meetings. But I also want to, do a shout out thanks to our board members. I'm a board member of ISSIP, but, Haluk Demirkan is a board member who started our publication program with Business Expert Press. So really just, I would say my kind of last words are just thank you to all you great volunteers. And we've got more volunteers in the pipeline. And I think as long as we have great volunteers who really put their heart and soul and passion into service innovation and its many nuanced forms, ISSIP will be doing great. And, it's just a pleasure to have Michele Carroll and all her expertise as a just tremendous, entrepreneur herself, who started her marketing firm. So she brings all that expertise and the press releases and all that great stuff to the table to help ISSIP, but also her experience on supply chain. I mean, COVID taught us how important supply chain is, and Michele has great experience and connections there as well. So yeah, I'm retired now. I was at IBM, an executive at IBM for years, but now I'm retired, and I feel very confident that as long as we have great volunteers, ISSIP will continue to do great stuff. So that's my last words, Michele.
Michele, do you have anything to add in 1 minute? Because we have literally about 3 minutes left.
Okay, so just, ditto, my God. And I want to thank Jim Spohrer and Terry Griffith, the two of them, for this opportunity, and a call out to volunteers. These and those two are perfect examples. Cecilia runs the newsletter is the perfect place to have that monthly view of what all is going on. There is so much. And I just want to say, we are nowhere near the capacity, the scale of what can be, and a real call to volunteers that want to help lead, manage, and grow this organization. It's info@ISSIP.org, Michele@ISSIP.org. Reach out.
Yay. Thank you, Jim and Michele, for joining us today. And thanks to everyone for tuning in today. Thank you.